Good. Okay, welcome everybody to the Essex Junction Trustees meeting. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. If you haven't signed in, please do so when you get a chance. Pat, agenda additions, changes?
Yes, sir. I have a couple. One is an agenda addition to go into executive session, possibly, if you agree.
Mm-hmm.
And another one is under new business, and it would be for the EJRP petty cash checking account request.
Okay.
And that would be it, sir.
All right, thank you.
Well, I should mention, at our place, we have this description, visual of the fire apparatus. So that would be the third thing.
Okay, we'll put that into the new business, that's in a new business item. We'll just
Correct.
make sure that goes in there. Okay, do I hear a motion?
I'll move we approve the agenda as amended.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thanks. First up, public to be heard. Anyone in the audience have a question, comment about something that's not on the agenda tonight? Yes, Diane?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I saw that you have a letter here from Highland Village, and I did read it. Okay,
Right.
so is that on the agenda? Do I have to wait until then, or can I make my own spouting about living on William Street and listening to a concert?
It's not on the agenda, it's in our, I think it's in our reading file or our
Yes.
consent. Is it our reading file?
Yeah.
It's in our reading file, but so it's appropriate for you to make your comment now.
So my comment
Yeah.
is that I live a block from the event, and I live west of the event. And I was not aware that it started at 10 o'clock with reggae, although the reggae wasn't bad.
Okay.
But the sound check and then the music the rest of the afternoon, and then starting 5-ish again. So it was basically a concert was starting from 10 o'clock until I fell asleep with my windows closed, because it was the only way I could, and even then, I was contemplating going in my basement to get it so I could have some peace and quiet, because I found I couldn't even read while I was trying to go to sleep. So I haven't done this since Dylan performed. Okay, that was the last time I had to go through this process. I'm not happy. And
Okay.
I'm glad to read that other people were not happy.
Right.
So I'm wondering about the sound check being, since sound, as most engineers know, go in a sine wave, and it does not go in a straight line. So perhaps we need to do it, figure out the sound wave for what varies decibels, and stage out such that, because this is not the first time. It's tough, doing a tough call, going, do I call the cops? Do I call here, I leave a message on the answer machine? You know, who do I have, what do I need to do to get satisfaction for having that sound being, yes, it probably was 100, it might have even been 120. It wasn't as bad as the traffic pool, but it was definitely not something I wanted to hear at 11 o'clock at night while I'm trying to go to sleep,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that I'm going to get up the next morning at 6 o'clock.
Right. Yeah.
So, and the song and dance of You Knew What You Lived, moved in to, yeah, I know that, but there was half the number of events when I moved there than there is now. I understand that business needs to happen, and I accept that. In fact, some of the events are really fun. But being a good neighbor, I guess I'm calling the question on that one.
Right. I understand. Diane, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
This may sound silly, but just to get a sense of it, what aspect of the sound was it that you were hearing? Was it everything, or was it the really low sounds or the really high sounds?
Sound, period.
Just the whole thing?
Because it really didn't go and peak out. It wasn't like suddenly like, ta-da, sort of thing. It was the steady state music at that specific level.
Okay.
It might have varied by maybe a decibel at any point in time.
Right.
It was a steady state. It wasn't like somebody was doing the 1812 overture. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and you build up to the climax. The climax happened all the time. So, you know, the nice thing about the reggae was that actually it was at a very tolerable level for the Saturday afternoon. Now, I will, however, say that Fair needs to coordinate with motorcycle guys because they were also having an event. So I was getting bombarded by the motorcycle guys at the same time. So to be perfectly honest, I prefer the music and the fair with the reggae than I did with the fair. Now what the motorcycles were doing, it was just a little bit above where I wanted to go. So that's a music preference, but they too, with the repair and the rev, vroom, vroom, you know, blast out the motorcycle as high as you can get it. That was going on at the same time.
Okay.
So, you know, it's, you know, do I call and get, hey, can you put a sound check on these guys too?
Well, we had, I think, from what I understand, the whole thing was monitored. Am I correct about that?
The reports.
Yes.
But on the other hand, if people are complaining, and yet the monitoring, there's obviously some kind of a disconnection here. And so I don't know, I can't off the cuff, I don't think any of us can say, give you a satisfactory answer right now. Go ahead, Andrew. Yeah.
I don't have a satisfactory answer, but I do think that given the amount of complaints that we've heard about, as well as, frankly, I live on Brickyard Road and I could hear it.
You could hear it?
At a level much louder than I normally can. And so what I'm wondering is if it's worth bringing in the engineers who do this to talk to us about their process so we can better understand it.
Okay.
And evaluate if what we're getting is really the information we need.
Right.
Or if there's some other type of measuring this to better get at the issue, to make sure that people who especially live that close aren't getting some type of a noise level that's damaging to them.
Right, yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that if the sound monitoring is saying this is fine, it's not, the decibel levels aren't rising, and yet we have many complaints, and particularly from people we haven't heard from before,
Right.
then something's out of sync here. And I think we probably need to look into it. So I get other trustees, what do you folks think? Should we just sort of have staff look into this and maybe give us a little more depth and maybe put it on the agenda for an upcoming meeting?
I agree with Andrew. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Dan, good idea?
No, it's a good idea.
Okay.
And whether it's staff or the actual engineers, I think at some point we do need to have the back and forth
Yeah.
between someone who can speak to the technical aptitude of this.
Yeah.
And so whether the staff are equipped to do that, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know. Okay. Amber?
Sorry, I know you guys are wrapping up that topic, but I just wanted to quickly mention, and I wrote the letter for Highland Village, on behalf of Highland Village, and I forgot to mention one piece, which was they also did takedowns about 2 a.m., which also interfered with people sleeping. So just wanted to put that out there for everybody, and to Diane's comment, it was more like a base. It was constantly, I had neighbors send me pictures of their walls physically shaking. So
Okay.
that's, just so you have that as a picture.
Okay.
Amber,
Okay.
what did you hear during takedown?
I didn't hear it because I'm on the townhouses that face Hillside area, or Hillcrest and stuff, but my neighbor who actually faces Pearl Street, she said they were awoken at like 2 a.m. with like generator noises, and physically like, moving parts around and
Sure.
stuff, so.
Okay.
Out of the sound sleep, after we were able to get to sleep at
Right.
11 o'clock.
Right.
So,
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Amber.
yep.
Okay, so we'll be talking about this again, but when we have some more information. Okay. Anyone else in the audience have a question, comment? All right, thanks, everybody. So first item of business is a public hearing on the planning grant for the Vermont Community Development Program, and Maura Collins is going to be here to walk us through it. Maura, do you want to come up real quick?
I'm happy to walk you through it.
Yep.
Although it's a lot like I walked.
You walked, I was going to say that, we've walked through this already, and just for the folks at home, let me
Yeah.
say, we agreed to be the pass-through for, and the supporter, and to the enabler for this grant, and we understood that you were going to now go ahead and go ahead with the grant. And so here it is, filled out, and looks good to us, but I just wanted to make sure if you had anything else you wanted to add, or if anyone had any questions.
Yeah, for the record, I'm Maura Collins from the Vermont Housing Finance Agency, and there is one change to the application since I was here, so I'm happy to be up here. Is that originally I was hoping that this grant and website was going to serve the entire state all in one fell swoop, as websites do. They are freely available to everyone. But this funding source is not allowed, is restricting us from doing something fully statewide. So we have separated the project into phases, and we're applying for this money, which will serve the northwestern Vermont, Chittenden, Franklin, Grand Isle, because you can use the money in a regional way. And so we are going to focus on the housing needs and the feedback and input from Northwest region. We're going to use the match from the Chittenden RPC and the Catherine Dimitrix one above. It's Northern Regional Planning Commission, I think it's called.
Okay.
Northwestern, maybe. And so the website will be focused on that. And then VHFA will separately be looking at doing a phase 2 to broaden it to the rest of the state after it is launched.
Nice.
And we will be leveraging tens of thousands of dollars to sort of do that with VHFA time and energy. And so that is one change, is that technically this application is for the northwestern 3 counties as opposed to serving the whole state.
Fantastic. Great.
But otherwise, this public hearing is one of the required elements of the steps that you do when you apply for this kind of money in this way. And so we've had the pre-application up on our website for several weeks. We had the public notice in the reporter. The state just released the official application this week. So we've moved from the pre-application has been reviewed by the state, and they've given us some feedback, including this regional feedback that we need to do that. And then now we're working, actually the municipality has allowed us access to start working on the application itself, and it's all going smoothly. And at this point, I see no other changes to the application that I'm expecting, unless we get more feedback from the state that would help us improve the application and its competitiveness or legality.
I did catch one typo.
Okay, good.
But I don't care, I don't know if you've submitted it already.
No.
Okay.
The pre-application is something that you do and you send it to the state, and then there's this back and forth for weeks or months. The application is not due until August 8th, and so
Okay.
please.
And it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's fine, but it's on response number 10.
Yeah.
It says this project will serve the single Northwest Vermont region, however, it will community profiles, and I think it will do something.
It will provide community profiles. Thank you very much.
All right, no problem.
Yep.
There might be some others, but that's the one I got.
Yep.
Any other questions for more? Everyone good?
So, I do need, just legally, I need you all to, I think Pat has
Yep.
the copy of the resolution, and I would have to submit a signed copy of this, and so you will have to take formal action to
Right.
tonight, hopefully.
We
It's
are
on the
going to take
agenda.
formal actions. Item number 1 under old business.
Okay, good.
So right now, unless you need to stick around, you're very welcome, and we'd love to have you stick around, but you don't need to.
Okay.
But it is our very first item under old business.
Great.
And I don't know if there's anything else that you need to put.
As long as the public doesn't have any comments for me.
Yeah.
Did you open the public hearing?
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. I didn't mean to not open the public hearing. So any members of the public have any questions about this? I really think personally it's a very needed thing, and it's certainly timely to make this available to people who are in need of housing. So I think it's a great effort on your part.
It's very exciting. I have to say that we launched the other half of the site, the Directory of Affordable Rental Housing. We've done separate private fundraising for that and launched that recently. We've gotten tremendous feedback, and it's unfortunately drawing more attention to how dated this part. You know, when you put two good websites up next to each other,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, why don't these community profiles look better and are fresher? And,
Yeah.
and the data is quite dated right now. If you were to pull up Essex's profile, you would be disappointed at how old the data is.
Yeah.
And we're juggling how much do we invest in this legacy system versus just spend our time working on the new. So it's really exciting, and I think it's really going to help communities to, at the volunteer community level, really get a better understanding of the housing needs in their community, as opposed to just the planners and the people who are used to thinking about this. Like,
That's a pretty big challenge to be able to communicate with all those different parties too.
yeah, we've done focus groups, we've done
Yep.
a lot of outreach to different communities, so.
I was checking out the website that you just launched. It's nice.
Yes, and that one even, we have more improvements. You should see my post-launch list of what I still want to do. But what I had to do was launch the site so that the housing managers who own the properties will get excited about providing more information. And it takes a while to then fill the information. As I get more information, it's going to look better about the amenities offered for these apartments and rental levels and the things that people really care about when seeking out affordable housing.
Great.
Any other questions, comments about this? Okay, I will close the public hearing, and I will also thank you very much.
Well, I want to thank you for being, this is
Yeah.
an unusual situation in some regards, but it's exciting to see the leadership that this community is providing around housing. It's
We're very
wonderful.
happy to do it, and so keep us informed, and come back anytime, let us know how this is working.
I'm hoping I'll see you in a few weeks whenever you do your next joint meeting. We'll be talking about more housing, hopefully.
Good.
Remember
Good.
the other thing I
That's,
asked
well,
about?
we do need to be talking about that.
Snuck
All right.
in. Thanks, Maura. Thank you.
Okay, so next up, we have a public hearing for the FY18 water sewer sanitation rates. Lauren's going to walk us through that.
Okay, first off, the good news is that the total water, sewer, and sanitation rates are going down a little bit. Our usage is staying at .0303 per cubic foot, which is the same as it has been. And our fixed charge is going to be $68.05 per quarter, or $272 a year, which is a decrease of 1.8%. And it costs the average user, which is, our average user we have as 120 gallons a day, which is kind of low, but is $449.15 a year or $37.43 a month. And when you split them apart, though, each of the services is changing a little bit. The water user rate is going up by 5%. This is basically due to a 7% increase in the operating budget. We had to add some for capital and the line locator, and it's just going up. Plus the CWD wholesale water rate is going up by 3%. And we have a slight decrease in the large user rate. And that is good news because we have our unaccounted water is getting in control. This year it was 4%, which is excellent. So,
Yeah.
So everything kind of, that's due to Rick and his crew taking care
We
of all
found the lost
that.
water, and now we have to pay for it.
Yeah. The wastewater treatment rate is decreasing by 10%. Wow, that's high. And that is due to a 4% decrease in the village portion of the operating revenue. Every year we go through an exercise where we figure out which community the flow percentages, and as they change, and Williston's have been growing, the villages has been dropping. And there also, good news, we have an increase in units due to I believe the switch out of the older large meters. They went through last summer and switched out all the older large meters, and so that has resulted in us having more units to bill and more water itself. So that's helped with to bring that water rate down, wastewater rate down. And also the sanitation is dropping by 2%. That budget didn't increase at all, hardly, about 1%. And then again, it is affected by the increase in units from the better meters and the more flow being measured. We're proposing the large water user rate to be 0.073 per 1,000 gallons, which is a decrease of 14%. It was 0.085 last year. That is due to the unaccounted water dropping, and but they continue to pay 13% of the operating budget. And then if our unaccounted water were to go up again next year, that would be part of, we would have a reconciliation and they would pay for that.
Okay.
So, but it's just the way we set the rate. Wastewater treatment wholesale rate is 2.8443, an increase of 4%, 4.14. And there was a 4% increase in the operating budget, which that can be attributed to. And that is it.
Okay. Trustees, any questions?
Lauren, can you give an estimated average annual water bill with all of this included for residents?
It was about 400.
That's the first, the
That
449,
first line,
15
yeah, that
combined.
was what
Okay.
we.
That's what that is,
about
okay.
450.
Thank you.
Other questions? So this is also a public hearing, so if anyone in the audience has a question or a comment, you're welcome to make it now. We'll open the public hearing. And I think, do we have another public hearing, Lauren, or is this just one? Do we just have one?
We're just having one this
Just
year.
have this one? Okay. Didn't know, wasn't sure.
We have water bills will be going out at the end of July, so we need to get the rate set for that.
Good. Any questions? All good? I'll close the public hearing. Lauren, anything else to add? Are we all good with this? I think, I mean, generally, it all seems reasonable, and you know,
I'm good that they're kind of flat.
they're kind of flat, yeah.
Kind of nice.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. The increase is offset by the decrease.
Mhm.
Great.
And we tend to still be in the lower quadrant
We
of
do.
cost
We
for the
do.
county.
We kind of do battle with South Burlington for that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Lauren. Okay, so we are now on to appointments and reappointment interviews. And first up will be Amber Tebow, Capital Program Review Committee. Do you want to come on up here, Amber?
No, do I?
Yeah.
I think I have to.
You're pretty nice.
And Amber is also on the Planning Commission, but you're not up for reappointment this year, correct?
I don't think so.
Yeah. So how is it going on the committee?
It's going good.
Yeah.
It's going good.
So good that you want to reapply?
It's so good that I want to reapply.
All
Yep.
right.
Yeah, having fun.
Yep, good, good. Any questions for Amber?
From my perspective, Amber's been great to have, so I'm thrilled to see her reapplying.
Yeah. The biggest problem with the committee is we don't have enough money to you know, pay for all the stuff that you guys are telling us we need to pay for,
But
so.
you know what, I've seen the work on Hillcrest.
I know.
And the sidewalk is great.
It's
Yeah.
good.
It's really, really needed, so that was good work.
Yeah. Anything that we should know about what's going on? Anything you want to tell us about?
Nope, can't think of anything.
No improvement? It's all just smooth?
Everything's good.
All right.
Everything's good.
Right, okay. Okay, any other questions? We'll let Amber sit back down and,
Thank you.
Thank you, Amber.
Stepping up again.
and, yeah, thank you very much, yeah, exactly. Thanks. Next is Kevin Collins, Capital Program Review Committee.
I know, I feel bad we don't have questions.
Hey, Kevin. And same thing for you, welcome and thanks for serving. It's great that, I mean, we're very pleased with the work that the committee does. It's so helpful every year. It really focuses our effort here when we have to come up with, you know, funding projects. It makes it much, not easier in terms of finding the money, but it makes it more rational, and it's sort of raises, I think, our comfort level knowing that it's been really, stuff has really been vetted, so we really appreciate what you do. Any questions for us or comments about the whole process?
Just wanted to give credit to Lauren. She comes to the meeting each week or each month, and she brings her materials. She's very well organized.
Yes.
The same with Andrew running the meetings.
Yeah.
And Rick Hamlin does an excellent job
Yeah.
communicating to us what the projects are and
Right.
the technical pieces of them. And he communicates well with the public also. So it's a good committee. I enjoy serving on it.
Did you have any expectations of what it would be like when you joined it, and have those expectations been met?
I think it's clear what the task is right now, what we've been asked to do with the projects that come to us and to rank them. I'm very interested in how the committee that Elaine and Andrew are serving on, how that materializes and what comes out of that, and what the future of capital projects looks like as far as funding and the funding model and how they're ranked, whether it be our community or community as a whole with the town.
Yeah.
So I think until that happens, I think the current model is what we should stay with.
That would be one of the big challenges ultimately if we have any consolidation of those departments, would be to see if we want to do it, have a town-wide model for the committee, if the committee would start bringing in town projects. Big question.
It is a big
Because
question.
they don't do it the same way, they do it differently.
That'll be a major discussion in an upcoming meeting.
Absolutely.
Which you're welcome to attend, actually. It would be useful to have, or at least have you there in the audience in case we have questions when we get to that topic.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Any other questions, comments? All good?
Thanks for serving.
Once again, thank you very much, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
And next up, we have Mr. Tim Kemmerer.
Come on
the
down.
Tree Advisory Committee. Come on down. Hey, Tim. And thank you for serving on the Tree Advisory Committee.
No.
Not yet.
Not
Oh, you're
yet.
not? Oh, you're not a reappointment? You're an appointment?
As there
Yes.
are public meetings, I've been attending meetings.
Ah,
But technically, you have not appointed me.
I saw your name on them, so I saw something.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay.
You missed that one. I really appreciate being appointed. They said that's what I was supposed to do, so yes.
You were supposed to ask, yeah.
I was supposed to ask to be appointed, yeah.
Again, just really appreciate you stepping up and wanting to take that on. It's a fun, it sounds like a fun committee. It's not really,
Yeah, so far it looks good. You know, I think I love trees, so I grow a lot of trees. If anybody needs a black locust, I can grow them for you.
Yeah.
Like weeds, they just grow in my yard, and then I move them around, and give them to people, and you know.
well, I think you're gonna get a big education on trees.
Yeah, already, yes. It's like going to another level.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know, all the plants. So Nick and Warren's there.
Yeah,
and
Nick
so
and
those
Warren
guys.
there, they're really gonna.
So that's good. And I have sort of ideas, I think it's all about thinking long-term and like, real, which is a little bit like what we've been doing. I thought it was sad we had to cut one down in the front there, so I don't know if there's a plan for that, but, we want these to grow big and then they look like they used to look, but we gotta think, long-term. I think there's ways that we could go out, work with the town and like the lead in to the village.
Mhm.
And like, when you plant trees along your roads, you really like, increase the kind of like boulevard, look,
And
right?
maybe people will slow down.
And then, yeah, I'm gonna try to tie everything together, like sound. Birds and trees are proven to cut sound.
It's true.
Yeah.
So, actually burn, there's a whole mining project going on in the back of the fairgrounds, which I'm sure is like somehow approved, right? But there's giant piles of stuff.
Yeah.
All they gotta do is move some of it and make berms and then plant trees on them. And hey, that could help sound.
That would be
So,
a good idea. That
um,
would be a good idea.
So anyway, there's ideas that are out there, right?
But we don't want them so big that our public works department can't trim them and do stuff to them, right?
Thank you, George.
Yeah. We don't want like sequoias, we want stuff that can.
Right.
It's a happy meeting for everyone.
Right.
That's right.
So yeah, I'd like to, kind of join in and see what we can do to.
And you're no longer on the school boards, right?
Not on the school board right
Okay.
now, so just on one committee.
Okay.
So that's on. I'm traveling less for work, so I had a little more time to like, can be able to commit.
You gonna get back, you gonna try to get back involved with school stuff at all?
I'm just gonna stay on, we've got this committee that's just, we're just really starting and trying to do public engagement.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of said you know, I helped out with that last year, and I just said I want to see that through and keep working on that, so.
Yeah.
And we're really just trying to help the board, help the new superintendent, you know, engage with the community and, you know, just keep getting better and better at doing that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, just gonna stay on that for now.
Okay.
That's it.
Any other questions for Tim? Comments? Good for you? Any questions for us?
No.
Well, thanks for stepping forward.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, and that brings us to old business. And, Pat, do you want to walk us
Yeah,
through
sure.
these one at a time, and then we'll knock them off?
Yes. So the issue is whether or not the select board's going to adopt
The
trustees.
The trustees. Oh, dear.
That's the,
I think it's the first time we've ever done that.
It is the first time.
no, is it?
I
Yeah,
think it is.
But have you ever been with the select board and said the trustee?
I have.
Okay. So it's happened.
Anywho,
All right.
And fair that way.
We're asking you to adopt the resolution in application for the planning grant under the Vermont Community Development Program. This grant would be for $40,000 in VCDP funds. It would be used to create a web-based interactive resource that provides residents, municipal officials, and planners with up-to-the-date vetted housing needs indicators. It would, in effect, provide a single go-to resource for low-income residents in need of affordable housing in Chittenden, Franklin, and Grand Isle counties. So it's recommended that the trustees sign the resolution for the VCDP Grant Application Authority. And the attached resolution, it would be part of the single
Okay.
application.
So,
And the agency would hold us, the Village of Essex Junction, as the applicant, and we would be responsible for things such as potential audit. In fact, we would be responsible for the audit, but most of the work would be done in terms of the program aspect of it by Leslie Black Plumeau. She would be the authorized contact person. And I'm the authorized contact person for the applicant, which is us.
okay. Good. Any questions for Pat? Good, do I hear a motion?
I move that the trustees sign the resolution for the VCDP Grant Application Authority.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, unanimous.
Thank you.
All right, Pat.
Next, of course, is the appointment or reappointments to the committees. And you have interviewed the great candidates that we have, and they are highly recommended for sure.
I'll move that we reappoint Amber Tebow and Kevin Collins to the Capital Program Review Committee for a 3-year term ending August 31st, 2020. And also that we appoint Tim Kemmerer to the Tree Advisory Committee for a 2-year term through June 30th, 2019.
Second?
Any further discussion? Once again, thanks to all for serving. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good, unanimous?
Did we not have any applicants for the 5-year term for the library board? Just curious, we saw this volunteer opportunities form.
I think we will have one for the next meeting, but I believe Patty mentioned that somebody had sent something.
Okay.
Well, forgive me, I didn't realize we were approving the water and utility rates tonight. I'm sorry, I went right by that. So that's next up, right?
Yes.
Okay. I can read this real quick, if you would like. The issue is whether to approve the water and wastewater utility sanitation, wastewater and sanitation rates for 2018. The cost to the village resident using 180 gallons per day will decrease by 1.8% or $8.44 per year. The large user rate is decreasing by 14%. The wastewater treatment wholesale rate is increasing 4.14%. Do you want to make a motion, or I can make, I will make a motion that the trustees approve the FY18 utility rates as stated above.
Second.
Any further discussion, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, they were approved. Thank you. And so, let me see, we are, did I miss anything? I think, did we get everything there?
I think we did.
Okay. So now we're on to new business, and we're going to be talking about a bid award for the fire department pumper. Chris, Bob, did you want to come up for it?
No.
Good evening. So for the last 4 months, we've had a small committee working with Pierce Manufacturing
Right.
to talk about specifications for a replacement engine for our 1996 E1. So got a copy of a plan that was provided for us that I shared with you. Pierce has submitted a bid of just over $600,000 for the truck. There's a number of financing options that we'll be looking at. Some of the things to point out, what we looked at and we really focused on was that of a more ergonomically friendly apparatus. So we're actually going back to hanging our ladders on the side of the truck. A lot of manufacturers have gone to internal storage, mechanical devices that keep them up out of the way. We have a mechanical device on our current truck. We have in storage on our KME. And we just find them to be, when you have a mechanical interface, it's something you're going to maintain, something that's going to break. The ones that are stored inside the vehicle, they don't deploy easily. So when you need a ladder and you need it quickly, it's not ergonomically friendly. You're just making some bad moves to try and get these things out. So, we looked at things like that. So putting the ladder on the outside, keeping our hose bed very, very low. If you notice most fire trucks today, they've gone with larger tanks. It gets their hose beds really, really high. When you have to repack that, reload that, you have individuals working at a very high level, which, now they've gone to hard covers, which, to protect them when they're working up there. So, to avoid those kind of things, we went with a more ergonomically friendly vehicle. Things we've eliminated, we've actually eliminated an onboard generator. This will be the first fire truck we've purchased since I've been on that does not have an onboard generator. With the move to LED lighting, we find that we can operate without that. And that in of itself is a cost of $30,000 to the truck. So you have a $30,000 option that we can remove, and along with, you've got yearly maintenance to that onboard generator to the tune of $500. So 20-year lifespan, you've got another $10,000 in maintenance that we can eliminate. We have a deck gun currently on our E1. I've spent 35 years in the fire service and I have not fought a fire with a deck gun yet. So it's a deck gun. It's just it's a device that's you'll see on the top. It's a large gun that they mount on the top of the truck for flowing large volumes of water.
I've only ever seen them use them on riots. I've never actually seen them.
Exactly. I mean, we do have the capability with our ladder truck. We have a gun on that,
Okay.
but things like that, $8,000 to just have a deck gun on the truck. So, those are some of the things that we eliminated to try and keep our costs down. Things that, I think a lot of people just put on trucks because we've always had them and we always need them. But in retrospect, it's something we're looking to get rid of. Again, we worked exclusively with Pierce because we've got a chassis that will match our ladder truck. We will outfit this new engine very similar to the ladder truck. The internal layout will be almost identical. Our pump panel will, as close as possible, mirror our ladder truck so that when people are training on one and they move to the other, it's a bit more seamless. So they won't be looking for switches and where things are located. They're going to get some commonality. You get out of one, get in the other, and things are going to be in the same place. So I think it's going to streamline that type of operation. And bottom line is, we have a lot of experience with Pierce. We've had a Pierce apparatus in the station since 1986, I think was our first. And they're just a very, very, very reliable truck. So, low maintenance, very reliable, and our recommendation is that we go forward and purchase.
Sure. And I will add for the audience that this is coming out of our rolling stock fund. We put money into the rolling stock fund in anticipation of making these purchases. So it's not something that's just coming out of one general fund budget. And I also think you said the proposed cost is $600,223, and you're requesting $20,000 for small equipment and hose replacement. So in the total budget in rolling stock right now is $625,000. So this whole package comes in under budget.
Correct.
Right. Okay. Any questions for Chris?
Just one.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, the size of the truck comparison to what we have now, fitting in the station over there, everything is going to be able to work out just the way it is. Okay.
No problem.
Yeah.
Lower profile, 4 feet longer overall length.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Are we, what's going to happen to the existing truck?
we will put that up for sale.
Okay, yeah.
So we're proposing, again, some of the small equipment costs. So the equipment that we're replacing, like the hose, we'll sell that truck, with the hose on it. So the current inventory of hose will go. A lot of it's dated. Your hose is something that's, some of the hose in that truck is probably 10 to 15 years old. We have it tested every year, but it's, with a new truck, we figured, hey, we're gonna get new hose. So we'll sell the small equipment that we purchased with this truck will be sold with the old truck. So we'll try and sell that ourselves. We'll put it up for bid and we'll notify fire departments within the state to try and sell it ourselves. I think that'll be the best way.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't have any luck with that, there's a broker that will purchase trucks and sell them for us. So.
Just out of curiosity, who would buy a truck like just a community that doesn't have it doesn't have as many calls, so they're not putting as much stress on it?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, our truck, when we go to sell, will be 22 years old.
Right.
So we stretched this one out so that we could get kind of a 7-year gap in between our truck replacement, because we know what burden fire trucks puts on rolling stock.
Yeah.
So we stretched this one out to try and do that. I mean, operationally, yes, it'll be very attractive to a number of smaller departments that are looking for a truck and can't afford the cost of something like this.
When would the new truck come?
I would expect that if we signed contract with Pierce in July, it would be delivered probably next March.
Wow.
So yeah, it's has about an 8 to 9 month lead time.
Okay.
In the rolling stock plan, we do have a note for $150,000 that we were planning to help pay for this.
Okay.
So it's not all there. And Chris has been looking at lease options too, so we're gonna compare them and see what would be cheaper. I'm thinking that the note probably will be, so, but that will be coming forth.
Have we done that before?
I mean, they refer to it as lease, but I think
It's
it's just manufactured financing.
It
Okay.
is.
All right.
And the town is just leased too.
That's what I was going to ask, is just, I know the town just purchased or leased.
It'll be coming, the financing.
So it's like a 20-year lease, or is it a fewer year?
No,
We offered,
5
because
and
of,
7, I think, wasn't
yeah,
it?
we had them offer us 5 and 7 year plan.
Okay, interesting.
Just because we knew we
Interesting to see how that works.
didn't have we didn't
Yeah.
have all the money available.
Yeah. Okay.
But they do offer us a discount, so if we were to do a note and we were to pay complete at contract signing, I want to say it was about a 4 or 5% decrease
Do they
in
include
cost.
some kind of servicing if we were to go through with them, the financing through Pierce, would they include like extended servicing or anything like that? No? Okay.
Other questions, comments? We good? Okay, do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the Essex Junction Fire Department spends up to $620,223 for the replacement of a 1996 E1 engine, awarding the contract to Pierce Manufacturing.
Second?
Any further discussion, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Chris.
Thank you for
Thanks,
being
Bob.
so thorough and taking us through too. And next, we have a bid award request for a portable compressor. I think Mr. Rick Jones is going to walk us through that.
It's not as cool as a fire truck.
It's
No,
really
an air compressor.
No, it's expensive.
Don't even try to
This is really a letdown.
It's an air compressor jackhammer, thanks, have a nice day. You can't do anything to that. So,
But
we have an old air compressor, we went to bid, and we traded it in, and we got a decent price, and
I'm curious about one thing. So Essex, so Milton rental, so Essex equipment is rental, but they sell them too?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of the equipment, by the rental places do sell also, yeah.
Okay.
And what is a mounted portable compressor?
Thank you.
Just
There you
for
go.
those who don't know.
Jackhammer.
Oh, is that really what it
It
is?
runs the jackhammer, part, yeah, so they got out there. That puts
Okay.
all the air to it.
It compresses the air. And it lets it out.
Hey, if you guys feel free, when we get it, you guys can go over if you want.
Try it out.
Oh, yeah, I think that would be good.
That would be good for your back, George. Yeah, that's be careful.
We all get to use the jackhammer.
Sure.
There's a great parking lot there, we could try it.
Oh, no. We'll find another spot for you.
So the Essex equipment, you're doing this strictly on the basis of cost. It's their bid is
That's a spec, yep.
about $500 lower, so.
Yeah, it came in fairly close, we got it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's,
Save on gas too.
that's, right, it's close, yep.
And the one you have now is just old.
Any other questions? Rick, anything else you want to tell us about this?
There's no fire truck, dude, I'm not to the fire truck.
Thank you.
It's an air compressor. But it's a valuable piece of equipment, of course, for public works.
Yes,
Yeah.
Don't get me
yes,
wrong,
you need
I'm
it.
not downplay this at all. Just saying.
You got some expensive stuff,
We do
toys,
some
and
stuff,
stuff, so,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, no.
Don't
No.
feel resentful. All right,
I'll move that we award the bid for the trailer-mounted portable compressor to Essex Equipment for the not-to-exceed amount of $12,379.75.
is there a second?
Second.
Andrew seconds. Any further discussion, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
And I do believe that wraps up new business.
No,
Nope.
that's right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Right.
We had an
I
addendum.
completely missed. Yes, we have our agenda addition item here.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Lauren.
So we're getting used to having the EJRP department as part of the village.
Yes, we are.
Oh, we've added like 104 people to our payroll or more. So anyway,
A lot of them are temporary.
some of them are temporary, yes. They're
Yeah.
just going to be here for the summer. But, we've got a lot of shifts. But one thing that they do is they take kids to the parks, and the parks won't take a credit card.
That's right.
So they had formerly had petty cash checking account with the school. Theirs was $2,000. Now, we do have a credit card for them, so they can buy some things with credit card. But they wanted a $1,000 petty cash account, and we decided we'd rather not have them running around with cash. So we've set up a checking account that it'll be an impressed account. We'll put $1,000 in it and replenish it. And Brad and Susan will be the signers on it.
Okay.
Brad Locke. Keep control of our money that way.
Good.
Okay.
We're asking, one person has to sign this resolution. And then Brad.
Okay.
John.
Any other questions about this? This is reasonable.
I will make a motion that we approve a resolution to set up a petty cash checking account at the Community Bank NA for the purpose of providing petty cash for the Recreation Department,
And authorize the president to sign.
and authorize the president to sign.
Okay.
Second.
Any further questions, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All set. Yeah, thanks, Gus. So I get to, so it comes out of my,
You're going to jail.
Okay.
Everybody else.
That's right.
okay. Okay, now that, all right, so this is for executive session. So we now are on to manager's report.
Yes, sir. The usual meeting schedule is submitted for your review, consideration, and comments. Begins with July 15th block party and street dance, and Patty tells me that the weather is supposed to be ideal.
Great.
So we're not going to move that. Followed by regular scheduled trustee meetings from July 25th through the end of October, interspersed with the Steam Fest Arts Festival, September 29th and 30th. It will be the first ever event, and everybody's encouraged to save those 2 days. The corollary to that is an item that's on the agenda for the Select Board's meeting Thursday, and it addresses a concern we had spoken about at our last regular scheduled meeting with the trustees, and that is to have regularly scheduled joint meetings that maybe address 1 or 2 topics and be part of each other's regularly scheduled agenda as a way of starting to address and refocus on some of the main issues that will be describing our next couple of years together.
Right.
And I also have on the agenda, this is kind of a precursor for the meeting, the recruitment and selection process for the headhunter, for the new manager. And as things worked out with respect to keeping that process open for 3 weeks, it would close on August the 4th, and it could serve very nicely as the first topic of a joint meeting of all 10 of you going through the proposals that have come in.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So we'll see how that works out, but I mean, that's certainly, again, it addresses the benefit of the joint meetings that you both have discussed over the last couple of months. There were some old agenda items for joint meetings, and I'm not ultimately, haven't memorized them, but I think TGIA was one, the manager recruitment was one. I can't remember if there was any other things, but I think really from a term ranking from most important to least important, I think the choice of the recruiter would be really topical and most important, but that's just me. So you all would have to agree to that.
Yeah, I think that is, I think we would agree. I'm gonna
Yeah.
guess we don't agree with that.
And that also is part of the manager's report, as we talked about. There've been 2 or 3 personal matters that have arisen fairly shortly, and I do believe that I would like to tell you about them, and it involves evaluating public officials. And as a consequence, in order to have that full and complete discussion, I think it would probably be wise to have an executive session for personnel. And we do have interviews and appointments. Oh, wait a minute, you made the appointments already.
Yeah.
Never mind. So that's the other reason for perhaps evaluating public officials, but
Yeah.
you've already done that.
Pat, first of all, trustees, what's everyone's schedule? You're gonna be able to make all these meetings? Everyone think you can make all these meetings?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I'll make a point.
Well, let me, while you're mulling that over, let me think, Pat.
Yes.
Do you, one of the things I was gonna suggest is maybe, we would normally have, when are you, our first joint meeting, you're targeting that for, August 7th.
That's correct.
And I'm wondering if we couldn't, if it wouldn't be possible to forego our routine August 8th meeting.
That would be really helpful.
Yeah. I mean, if we can do that, can we do that?
This is more, yes, we will work diligently to get that done.
I would say either forego the July 25 meeting or forego the August 8 meeting. Well, sorry, Lauren.
We need to set the tax rate at July 25.
Yeah.
Okay, then just the August.
I can tell you back-to-back meetings aren't good, so let's try and get it done. Let's try and get everything done that we need to get done July 25th.
Okay.
And make August 8 go away.
If it's possible. If
it's
something
possible.
arises and we really have to meet,
Yes.
then that's fine. But, I'm going to guess I speak for the board in saying
Yeah,
it
that'd
would
be
be great
Okay.
if we can.
I'll try to stay in your good graces.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else have a question, comment about this? You good? Okay. So we are now on to trustee comments and concerns and reading file. And I have one question I have for the four of you, and I'll try not to ramble. It regards a joint meeting with the village and town planning commissions. I was very negligent back a few weeks ago. Dana Hanley from the town, I think, emailed me and Pat and Max and members of the village planning commission to discuss the possibility of setting up a joint meeting, and the proposed topic was the two planning commissions' policies on social media. And I read that and I thought, we don't have a planning commission policy on social media. And I had meant to get back to Dana, and I had meant to get back to Pat, and it just sort of, the time went on and other things came up and I didn't. So Dana politely reminded me and got back to me. And I said to her, I'm not surprised that the planning commission probably did, our planning commission, because she sent it to Dave Nistico, the PC chair, and he didn't respond, and I'm gonna guess that Dave probably didn't quite know how to respond,
Right.
because I said, our planning commission doesn't meet with other boards. They usually tell us to they go through us.
Right.
And also, they don't have a policy for communicating, because they're really not supposed to be communicating on social media about planning commission stuff. So I said I would talk to you, since I didn't have time to make it be a formal agenda item, I would bring it up in trustee comments, because we don't have to make a decision. But I just wanted to get some ideas from the four of you about, should we try to, I would maybe guess I could meet with Max and Pat, maybe Robin and Dana, I'm not sure who would meet with, and then try to set up a subject for the two planning commissions to meet. But I think it'd be better if we could come up with a more meaningful and relevant topic.
But what,
Can I give,
Yeah, go ahead. This is
So
what
what-
I think.
is there an issue?
I think the issue is that they're looking at TGIA, they're saying, we're long-term, we're talking about consolidating planning commissions, and so maybe we should get to know each other better. I think that's the issue, Lori. I don't think it's anything, it's nothing that we haven't done.
Right.
We made the very
Not like
public.
someone's posted something on social media and.
No,
So-
it's just, it's a sort of get to know you, and let's talk about things, and let's get to, be friends.
the combining or posting their agenda or their meetings on social media, doing it, the way I perceive social media is a back and forth type thing, and I could see issues arising with this back and forth communication, public meeting laws and everything else. I just see a plethora of issues coming
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
So I have some concerns about that. I have no problem with posting an agenda, but I'd want it to be a billboard type thing, boom,
No,
that's
this
it.
is-
No back and forth.
This has to do
Yeah,
with
yeah.
responding to comments on Front Porch
Yeah,
Forum,
yeah,
the
this-
kind of thing we all want to do and we don't do.
Yeah.
And the planning commission just doesn't do it.
Right.
But this is not an issue that we face.
Yeah.
This is something
Yeah.
everyone, all local governments face all throughout Vermont, so.
I agree with Dan, and I would add that I think a meeting between the two boards would be great,
Mhm.
and then they could talk about having consistency across what they're already doing.
Yeah.
The town's Front Porch Forum posts are very informative, and they're written in very clear English, so I'd love to make sure that ours are done that way. I would love to make sure that plans are posted to our respective websites the same way, agendas are posted the same way.
Mhm.
Let's make sure that we already are doing the same thing consistently before we move into uncharted territory with social media.
Right.
I agree with Dan that neither board should be going out there separately and responding to things, but rather staff should be taking care of that, so.
Well, and to your point of why the two boards should get together, I think, in my view, everything you suggested, the staff does.
That's right.
So is it the boards getting together, or is it like you and Max and Pat and Dana and Robin getting together?
No, what was proposed was the two boards, the two planning commissions getting together and having a kind of an open-ended, casual discussion about a topic. And the
so
topic wasn't necessarily like we're desperately needing to talk to you about social media.
Oh,
I
so
think
it's
it
just
was
get
more
together.
like as a kind of thing that maybe would break the ice between the two boards, something that we could kind of maybe get to find some common ground on, and in a problem that we could, you know, the 14 of them could discuss and maybe come, you know, find a solution would be the issue of social media. But I think that's my point. It isn't restricted to social media. If we came up with
this
some
is just a
completely different
meeting.
idea.
She just wants to get the two boards together.
Right.
I actually had the two chairs of the planning commissions and maybe the vice chairs talk about what they think they would like, or at the next planning commission meeting, the separate meetings, have them talk about what they would each like to talk about.
Yeah. I
Because
think
we can
that-
tell them what we think they should talk about, but it's,
I think coming from the chairs would be more valuable.
Right.
Yeah.
What they want to discuss.
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to suspect that I think that our chairs would like to probably hear what, they may not necessarily, it might be good to say, we're not going to tell you what to talk about, but
Right.
they might like to hear our ideas because they, you know, this isn't something that they do normally, so they're probably not going to really come up, have a lot of
And
suggestions.
so our ideas on
But
what they should talk about?
If we could put our two planning commissions, the village and town planning commission in the same room
What should they
and
talk
say,
about?
talk about something, you know, to sort of get to know each other and get to understand each other's differences and similarities, what would the subject be?
how about how do they handle public comment?
How about, do they want to meet? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm feeling like we're forcing something on two boards. We haven't even had a conversation with our board.
Mhm.
So can we start there?
We could start there. Pat?
I think that, and I think.
Yes.
And really underscore, think. I think this had been a topic of discussion when the TGIA was more in full bloom, and the chair of the town planning commission was reaching out to the chair of the village planning commission to visit each other at meetings, and I do believe Dusty Russo did come to a planning commission meeting just to sort of see how business was done. And I think there was even a conversation that that should be a regular sort of thing to do on an intermittent basis. But then we got sidetracked and away from TGIA.
Right.
And so I think that moved back to the back burner. And I believe that maybe it was Dusty who reinvigorated it to the front burner in the hopes of having a meeting, and maybe he was the one who was leading the discussion to have Dana reach out. In talking with Robin today, and I got the distinct impression that the 27th of July meeting was still a go, but
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know.
well, he may, again, this is
Maybe he
just
doesn't know.
in passing, yes, maybe
Okay.
he's not as current as you and I are on the topic.
I don't know.
It wasn't, it was more of a kind of a come let us get together approach to better understand how people do business in each other, you know. I mean, planning commission is not a planning commission. You can't just say each planning commission is alike. And there are many different things. There's a code in the village, for example, and there isn't a similar creature in the town. So right off the bat, there's a huge developing a level of understanding of what planning is in each other's jurisdiction. And so maybe it's something as simple as that. But it's all like.
Well, that's a possible topic. Maybe they could talk about the difference between, you know, what code is and what would you call the equivalent of what is the town's equivalent of the code?
Town plan.
The town plan.
yeah,
But we have a
zoning,
village plan,
subdivision,
so how does
village
that?
plan, zoning and subdivision regulations, and the village has adopted a code. It is a law. It is, and there's very little room to maneuver within that. Anyway.
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
struggling with this. I'm struggling with, I think it's great if the two boards want to get together.
Mhm.
I don't think we should be sitting here brainstorming what they should talk about. I think it should be you and Max sit down with Robin and Dana and the chairs.
Okay.
And if the chairs say, yep, our boards would love to get together, great, let them get together. I don't think it needs to be forced from down because it's not gonna help anything.
But I also didn't want to say, we want the two commissions to get together. You just I'll go in this room and find something to talk about, because I
Well,
don't
that's
think,
right,
you know,
exactly.
I think we have to kind of come up with there has to be some kind of a.
But
so
I
that-
think first there has to be a discussion with the
Okay.
board chairs, if this is something both boards want to do.
Okay, so then that's a good suggestion.
I mean, I don't know
think
what everyone
that
else
puts us
thinks,
where we
but-
need to be.
I
So
agree with
I'll talk with, okay, so I'll talk with Max, Pat, and get in touch with the chairs and get some ideas.
Right.
Maybe social media is something they want to talk about, maybe just a venting session.
I think we can-
Maybe
Social
just
media.
talking
Yeah.
about how they're different,
I
how
think
they're the
there's a lot of
same.
things we do. The board we interact with most often, we have discussions, is planning.
Right.
And, you know, as much with zoning or anything else, but I just don't want to feel like Lori's saying, I agree with her wholeheartedly. I don't want them to feel like we're micromanaging.
Yeah,
them,
right.
And we're coming down, we're heavy-handed, oh, with the trustees, we're gonna tell you what to do. They don't need to be led along. They're very knowledgeable, that's what they're specialized in, so they're the ones that should be doing it.
Okay? Okay, thank you. Now, I didn't mean to dominate the trustee comments session. So you guys, any comments, questions that you have? Yeah, go ahead,
I
Elaine.
have two things I wanted
Yeah.
to share. First of all, Andrew and I are continuing to be on the Public Works Assessment Committee. We met on July 5th, and we had Dennis Lutz and Rick Jones participating, and we talked about, we defined infrastructure so that we were all working on the same page, and we discussed what our criteria are for successful, partially successful, and unsuccessful collaborations are.
Great.
And we're moving forward to start on July 19th, talking about the budget, the integration study that was proposed and how far we've gotten, and cost reductions. So we're moving right along. We have a very aggressive schedule to try to meet, you know, the deadlines that both boards agreed to.
Appreciate you doing it, Elaine.
It's actually fascinating,
That's
so
good.
it's a pleasure. Did you have anything, which is why we're doing it? and not you.
So make sure you're both having fun with it.
Andrew, did you want to add to that in any way?
I think that you're doing a fantastic job, Elaine. I'm thrilled that you're the chair of this committee. You've done a great job, especially of holding one other trustee accountable to make sure that I get you what you're looking for. So I appreciate that.
It's interesting stuff, so. The other thing I wanted to tell you, and I'm not sure how to proceed with this, so I could use
Just let
some
it go.
suggestions. So I have for probably 4 years now said, I would love to do a mural contest on the McClure building. The McClures are happy to do it.
Oh,
Yay!
They are excited.
That's
So,
exciting.
yeah, I'm really psyched. So, the building, if you walk through the new bike walk path, there's like three sections, and they are like, yeah, do it. What they want from us is to make sure that the greenery on the opposite side of their side of the fence is trimmed to the ground,
Mhm.
which I said, I think we can accomplish that.
Mhm.
And the basic outline was to have a call for artists to suggest, submit a sample of what they might paint on that mural, and then have those samples be voted on at perhaps a village meeting, where we might actually get a ton of people to come,
Right,
because
yeah.
that would be like a no-brainer kind of fun thing to do.
Could you tie this in with the Steam Fest somehow?
That's exactly
Well,
what
I was
thinking.
wondering if we could kick it off at the Steam Fest, like announce it and
Oh, yeah,
start the
yeah,
call for
yeah.
artists at the Steam Fest. So I wanted to ask you, should I write up a memo or a proposal? Like, how would you like me to proceed with this? I'm looking at you, Pat, because,
Could we,
Yes.
if I could jump in real quick, could we do one of two things? Could we, at like the Steam Fest, section off portions of their building and have that just be a certain artists go ahead and you get this section, you get this section, you get this section, while this other portion is kicked off of, in the long term, here's what we're looking for. I mean, I'm assuming
I
it's
don't-
a
I don't
double
quite
edged
understand.
sword.
what you're
that can be
saying.
I think the issue I found with that, different artists, different things, it could really be
It could clash.
disjointed, it doesn't
Yeah.
really blend, it doesn't flow well. I think Elaine's idea, I think of just having it put out there, have a theme that continues along the entire length, so it's not this piecemeal type thing with.
and we
you know,
would have
just-
to, yeah, and we would have to finalize what it is we're asking the artist to do. Like, is there a theme we want? Do we want it to be like a historical chronology, or do we want it to be the future? Like, what do we want it to look like? And then they submit their ideas.
Just to mention, probably everyone's aware of it, on Church Street, just off Church Street by the parking garage, they have a mural on the
Yeah,
side of
I
the
see.
building that's been in Republic. That's great. They also just did a mural on the side of Cherry Street just around the corner, I forget the name of the store, I think it's a shoe store, right by Ben and Jerry's, across from Ben and Jerry's.
I
right
saw
along there.
that.
It's
Very nice.
Very nice mural, so.
And then there's that really nice
there's-
hummingbird mural
Right.
on the corner of
Of
College
St.
and
Paul.
St. Paul.
Yeah.
And that artist did the 2 water towers at the at the roundabout in Morrisville.
Cambridge.
Cambridge. Beautiful works. I mean, there's artists that are really
Right.
fantastic. The Church Street one, that one has barcodes in it, and you can go up and scan them and get information. This is gonna be a long distance, so people are not gonna be able to go
Right,
up to it.
yeah.
But, so that's definitely a
But
consideration.
the other thing, it's a long distance, it also keeps it protected in some ways, so that's good.
That's true.
Yeah.
So,
So I'm just excited that we
Yeah,
got the
that's
go-ahead,
great.
so.
Good job.
Great.
How would you like me to proceed on that?
Memo would be good.
A memo?
And maybe we should talk,
Yeah.
yes.
I wonder if there's other communities that have done something like this to get ideas from.
I'm curious, like, cost. I wonder,
Yeah.
how much does it cost to paint a mural that big? That's a
Right.
big building.
Well, Ron Redmond might be able to help you on Church Street Marketplace.
Oh, that's a great idea, okay.
At least for that. And then the other potential, although it's a much different scale, but didn't, I don't know who the agency was, but they're doing the storm grate
Oh, yeah, the storm cover.
cover
design
mural
thing.
design thing, and
Oh.
that was a contest.
Who's doing that?
Wasn't it CCRPC?
CCRPC
Oh,
or
okay.
Burlington Parks and Rec, or,
Okay.
because they're doing it here soon.
I
So I
didn't
don't know
even
who
realize
that's
that.
through.
Yeah, Chittenden County Stream.
Thank you,
Nice.
Chittenden County Street.
Oh, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, and Jim is involved in
Thanks,
that,
Joe.
so,
Totally,
yeah.
It was a contest, right? Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
just,
thanks, that's great. So in the future meeting, you will get something from me about.
that's awesome, Elaine, good job.
Fantastic.
that's good.
Thank you for continually pursuing it.
You know, it took a phone call,
And I imagine
and
that.
it took me 4 years to get to the phone.
To make a phone call.
Yeah, so you're welcome.
I have nothing to say.
Anything else? Good, all good? Yeah, good, all right. Okay, so, and I just want to point out to everybody, I want to make sure everyone saw, oh no, I'm sorry, I put our work session minutes in the consent agenda, so we'll get to that in a second. So that's what we're on to, the consent agenda. And I will make sure, everyone, I put the notes and because you all contributed to the the revision of those. So that'll be the approved copy that will, Patty will then post.
I move we approve the consent agenda as amended.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and so, let me see, I have a note here. I move that the trustees enter into executive session to discuss personnel matters pursuant to 1 VSA Section 313 and to include the manager and assistant manager.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and we'll take a 10-minute break.
So do you know how long you'll be?
Oh, I'd say about maybe half hour.
Half hour?
tops.
So 8:15?
Yeah, that's probably.
Who's gonna adjourn?